Hey y'all, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian, and Tom Homan has had almost enough of the mainstream media, and the way he tells off this reporter is absolutely epic. Let's dive in.
You say the kids weren't deported. Their mothers were deported, and their mothers chose to take their kids with them. A federal judge said that he has a strong suspicion the administration deported a 2-year-old with no meaningful process, though. And court filings show they were deported before the court responded to a motion for a temporary restraining order. So why deport them before the court weighed in?
No due process. The mother of a 2-year-old wanted her baby to go with her. And if we didn't do that, the story today would be, we're separating families again. Look, this is a parental decision. We're sending a message. You can't enter this country illegally, which is a crime, and get an order of removal and not leave, and hide out and have a U.S. citizen child. You're immune from the law? No, it doesn't work that way. Having a U.S. citizen child doesn't make you immune from the law. U.S. citizen parents get separated from their children every day by law enforcement. We can't send a message to the whole world. It's okay to enter this country illegally, which is a crime. Just simply have a U.S. citizen child, and you're off the books. You're immune. The judge's order doesn't mean anything more right now, because if the judge's order of removal for the parent doesn't mean anything, then what the hell are we doing? Just shut down the immigration court. The final order don't mean anything anymore. Take the border patrol off the border because there's no consequences. We're enforcing law on the books. We're enforcing laws enacted by Congress and signed by a president, unlike the last administration who ignored the law. We're simply doing what Congress and the American people wanted. President Trump was elected to office because of his immigration policies and securing the border. We're giving the American people what President Trump promised them, and we're saving lives by the thousands.
But what the ACLU is saying is that you're not allowing that full process to pay out, that one of those children, for example, has cancer and was deported without their medication, without a chance to consult with doctors. Can you confirm that, and do you approve of that?
I don't approve. Look, every arrest ICE makes, every move ICE makes have discretion. I'm not familiar with that case. I find it hard to believe. So I've asked this morning for information on that. But bottom line is ICE has the discretion to not deport somebody for humanitarian reasons. But again, on these 3 cases, the children went with their parent. This is a parent decision, not a government decision. We're trying to keep families together. And if the parents want to take the child with them, that is their call, and we support that. We're trying to keep families together. And again, if this wouldn't have happened, if the child would have stayed here with their relatives, the story would have been, we're separating families. But while you're asking me these questions, why don't you ask me about the 500,000 children that were smuggled in this country, separated from their families, put in the hands of criminal cartels, not with their parents, put in the hands of criminal cartels, and the last administration can't find 300,000 of them. You know what? We've already found 5,000 of these children. President Trump's committed for these 300,000 missing children. We'll find them and reunite them. We'll rescue them. But no one wants to talk about that, but I'll talk about it with you today.
And Tom, we have reported on that story at length and continue to report on the progress of it. And I'm very happy to continue that conversation as well. But I want to ask you right now about the administration detaining several international students in the first 100 days, revoking visas, revoking green cards. One specific case seems to hinge on a pro-Palestinian op-ed that a student wrote in her student newspaper. A new poll shows 59% of Americans oppose deporting international students who have criticized U.S. policy in the Middle East. So I'm curious, what are the criteria you're using to determine what international students deserve to have their visas or even green cards revoked? Is voicing support for Palestinian people enough, or is there more to this?
Well, there's much more to it. Look, some of this isn't removed just because of their opinion or they protest. It's not just what they said, it's what they did. And look, the last administration, they can let this happen, but Trump administration is not going to let it. When you get a visa come to this country, there are certain requirements. It's a privilege to get a visa come to this country, and you got to follow the rules. I'm not in the weeds on that. That's with the State Department, ICE. So I don't know specifics of that case, but the intent is that you come to this country with a visa is a great privilege. You got to follow certain rules.
Y'all, there were 2 times in here where I would have personally crashed out if I was asked these questions over and over again. I do not understand how Tom Homan is able to stay there as composed as he is and deal with these ridiculous questions over and over and over. we keep on hearing the mainstream media try to peddle the story that we deported children, American citizen children. Well, they aren't technically American citizens. They do have some citizenship. It's this weird gray area, but the mother was deported. And so instead of deporting the citizen, saying, hey, you're gone, you can't come back, that's the point of a deportation. When you are kicked out of a country, you're usually given a warning, don't come back. We don't give that designation to the children. Okay? This is a good thing for that child if they ever want to claim U.S. citizenship and come back to the United States at any time. That's possible in the future. There aren't going to be any red flags. We're giving that kid a chance not only to be reunited with their families back in their home country where their families still are, and we're giving them an opportunity to come back later in the future. That is a good thing. And the mainstream media keeps on spinning this as some vile, detestable thing. Hey, y'all, here's the deal. Gold loves President Trump. Under Trump's first term, the price of gold soared 53%, and the price of silver jumped 51%. Since the start of the second term, gold has skyrocketed even higher, breaking records and even outperforming stocks. Here's what I like about precious metals like gold and silver. They have been used as a store of value for centuries. Governments can't easily manipulate it. They are used as hedges against market risk and, of course, against inflation. That's why I partnered with the amazing people over at Goldco. Goldco is an award-winning precious metals company. They are fans of this show, and they have helped millions of Americans just like y'all to purchase over $3 billion in gold and silver. Right now, you can get a free copy of their 2025 gold and silver kit. On top of that, you might also qualify for their amazing unlimited silver bonus offer. So don't wait on this. Go to politibrawlgold.com to learn more. That's politibrawlgold.com or call 855-644-GOLD. Folks, you can't win when you're arguing with mainstream media, and in this case, rich white liberals like this. You can't win here because it's either you are breaking up families, and how dare you keep families separated, which, by the way, that's another thing that we've had to debunk time and time again on this channel. So you can either separate the families or you can reunite them. Oh, well, now you've reunited them. How dare you? What do you want? I feel like I'm in the Notebook. What do you want? At a certain point, I don't care. I don't care what they want anymore. I don't care what rich white liberals want. Because they're so detached from reality. That's the moment where I would have crashed out for the first time on this video. So again, props to Tom Homan for basically laughing off this question, because this is one that's easily answered, but at the same time, really? We're doing this again? And then you have the second question right there at the end. Because the whole idea that you come to this country on a visa to be educated by our process that we afford you, not you the viewer, not you the editor, but you as the student who has come from abroad to enjoy the best education system in the world. Cambridge and Oxford, eat your heart outs. As much as I despise the Ivy League, we still have a better system for education than anywhere else on planet Earth. That's another testament to American greatness. And then students will take that greatness for granted and will use that as an opportunity to support pro-Hamas rallies. The majority of these protests for Palestinians turn out to be nothing more than grandstanding for terrorist organizations. That's what happens time and time and time again. And so we find these ties and realize, maybe it's not a good idea. Maybe it's not a good idea to have American dollars, American organizations, American people educating foreign children whose one goal is to come over here to the United States and raise as much of a stink as they possibly can. No. Goodbye. You're out. All right? You have abused your visa. You are saying things that are ridiculous. You are trying to undermine a nation's foreign policy goals. You are trying to turn foreign policy against American citizens. We actually have historical precedent for this, by the way. I believe it's called the XYZ affair, if I'm not mistaken. I know that there was a major affair back when America was in its infancy. It was either John Adams or right at the tail end of George Washington. I think it was during the John Adams administration. Revolutionary France was trying to curry favor with the United States. And they were trying to get the states to basically give them the same kind of support that the French gave during our Revolutionary War. Well, this being the late 1700s and America being very small, doesn't even have a real standing army, and finally we get these weird notes being passed between French dignitaries and different newspapers trying to whip up Americans into a frenzy. We finally got tired and kicked those people out. Okay? That is the exact same thing that's happening right now on our college campuses. And if I was in Tom Homan's shoes as the border czar, I would be a little bit more than angry at this question, perhaps a little bit more than the immigration one, because this has to deal with the State Department. This ain't my job. This ain't my department. It's like coming into a restaurant after closing time. No one wants to deal with this. This is not my problem. This is a problem that Marco Rubio needs to talk about, and he is firm and adamant and talks about this story constantly, because these students who come over here show support not for Palestinians, but for Hamas, the terrorist organization that has one job, and that is destroy a nation full of people that don't share their same ethnic heritage or religion. All right? I don't know. Where I come from, I was taught that that kind of thinking is evil and needs to be treated accordingly. So students who abuse their visas are correctly being detained and often deported back to their nations of origin. Maybe they can get a good education over there. Well, you know what? That brings up, I think, my final point. I'll wrap up with this. The whole idea that a cancer patient, a child that was allowed to return to the mother's nation of origin so the family can stay together, the child was alleged to have certain medical treatments not available. And so far, that has been completely unfounded. I have not seen anything that says that that's true, and furthermore, that's the soft bigotry of rich white liberals who think that only in America can you get these life-saving treatments. I'm sorry, to treat someone from South and Central America with that sort of disdain, saying, well, you can't get good doctors down there. I'm sorry, that's soft bigotry at its worst, and at its most ridiculous as well. But that's all I can expect from mainstream media outlets. Tom Homan hit an absolute home run here, but let me know what you think down in the comments below. My name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed this segment here on Politibrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Until then, y'all have a good one.